You're listening to Nothing's Off the Table, the podcast where no subject is too taboo to discuss. Now, please welcome your hosts, Andy Barker and Udell Free. What's up? Wow,
Much.
we're back. We got a cool show. We got a really cool show planned. We have two special guests coming on, and when I say special, they're special. I'll let you. I'll
like
let
Henry
you,
Goddard special.
I don't even know who that is. So
He's the one who brought the intelligence testing from Europe and coined idiot, moron, and what's
retard.
the other? Yeah, no, retard is the actual politically correct term. Idiot, moron, stupid.
Oh yeah, well,
those were the scores he brought over from Europe, and retarded was actually the politically correct term for idiot, moron, and stupid.
But now you can't say retard.
No, isn't that retarded?
It is retarded. How dare they? How dare they tell me what I can and can't say?
That's right.
Anyway, hey, I know you know who our two guests are.
I do.
What up, Murdog? And well, why don't we just bring him in? Because I'm giddy like a little schoolgirl right now. I'm so excited, man. It's gonna be so much fun.
Pay no attention to the videography.
Without further ado, I would like to introduce everyone to Dan and Sarah. Why, hello, Dan and Sarah.
Welcome.
Hello.
Uh-oh. We got some better lighting.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, look at that.
What's up, everyone?
Your internet sucks, but hey, you know, the lighting's better.
Oh, no.
Well, welcome, guys.
Are we good? Can you
That's
hear
all
us? Can
right.
you see us?
You know,
it'll all settle out.
It should even out pretty good here in a few minutes. It's already looking a little bit better. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do about Dan, but you know, whatever. So, welcome, guys. Oh, I see your world. Oh, look at your shirt. What is that logo on your shirt?
That's the American Warrior logo, my friend. Interlocking AW.
It's funny that you said that because that's what we're going to be talking about. This is your foundation, your organization, both of you. And I don't want to say anything about it yet because I won't do it justice. But what I will say before we get into this is that what you have talked to me about and what we talked about in camp and everything, I'm super excited. I'm on board to support you guys, man. This is a great thing you guys have going. And well, why don't you just tell us a little bit about it?
Awesome. Well, yeah, American Warrior started when in 2012 we took the passion for military service through my years in the Marine Corps and the love of music and entertainment and combined the two together in Los Angeles in 2012 and that could celebrate our troops, veterans, and American way of life, and have veterans and military attend, and also bring veteran organizations share their services with veterans, such as honor flight and scuba diving, hunting trips, all kinds of things. And it kind of was built from that. That's the genesis of it all. Through our shows, we realized that recruiters needed help with recruiting and getting the military culture out to the public. So we're working in those two fields, the entertainment field and the military training field. And there's a lot more to share, but I figure we'll stop it there, and so I don't run out here.
Yeah, well, I mean, so you haven't even scratched the surface, really.
I was gonna say, I was like, what a marvelous introduction.
Right, but what really impressed me is the work you guys are doing with the ASVAB tutoring and that kind of stuff. So I was telling Lou a little bit earlier about what you guys do. And I don't know if I would really do it right, but essentially you're taking these individuals that may or may not have done well on the ASVAB, or, you know, they may be fat body or, you know, have PT issues or whatever. And you're bringing them in and helping them. You're tutoring them with the ASVAB. You're PTing the dog shit out of them and, you know, teaching them how to eat right.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We're killing bodies at Hard Charger Saturday.
Hold on. Yeah. What was that look, Sarah?
What look?
Oh, that was I know that look. I've been married for 20 years. I know that look.
I think that there's so much to be said here. Like with it's grown tremendously over the course of even just the last 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. Um, the need that we have found, and everybody being veteran related, even some of our guests, like shout out to Eric there too.
Joe, what up, Joe?
Yeah, like the need, if we want to even start there, is that we all know what's happening amongst our world right now with the social media hitting as big as it is and kids staying inside, COVID putting kids inside. We're going from school systems to being hosted on Zoom, right? So what we're seeing is, and please babe, totally chime in on this, because I don't come from the military world. What has happened is I have just fallen in love with one, and I have learned what you guys have gone through.
God bless you.
You know, like like which in its own right, right? And but we're living in a time now to where like the 6 feet social distancing thing is pretty dominant, and TikTok is amazing, and we have so much information at our fingertips on our cell phones and on our screens, right? But what that does is puts our head down and not putting them outside, not getting them physically qualified, not even for the military, but just to run for more than 5 seconds without getting out of breath, right?
Well, I think
But-
an important piece too, when you talk about ASVAB help, right? You know, a lot of people
Mhm.
out there like ASVAB. Why would you need ASVAB help? Well, you know, the whole moniker of a stupid Marine, you know, for infantrymen, that's gone. That doesn't exist anymore. That basic infantryman has a radio that freaking far surpasses anything most people have played with in the civilian world. You know, he has to be proficient in programming it. He has to understand when it's not working. He has to understand basic troubleshooting for it. I mean, he has to pay attention to things going on just with that radio. That just it's just a concept gone. I mean, we joke about stupid Marines and stupid infantrymen, but that's exactly what it is now. Is it's a joke. Whereas before, yeah, there was a little bit of merit to that. You know,
Sure, yeah.
Well, I've met some really dumb, smart people. So Joe wants to
I know,
know,
that's amazing.
were you guys together? What's that?
While Dan was serving, actually, no.
Yeah.
So Dan served in 06.
Well,
tell
yeah,
us your story.
yeah, I had definitely. I joined the Marine Corps 2 days after high school graduation, way the hell back in 1994, and served until '98.
Damn,
And
you're
actually, my first stint in the Marine Corps, I was a rebellious one, and got in a little trouble. And my first discharge in the Marine Corps was general under other than honorable, and we can go into how that all played out some other day. So fast forward to 2003 or 4, I said, man, I was a shitbird. I let down my country. I let down the Marine Corps. We got to fix this. So I walked into a prior service recruiting office, and they're like, you got an RE4. What'd you do? Like punch a general or smoke crack in the barracks? I'm like, you're like, get out of here. You're never getting back in. That's it. So I tried so many things to get back into the Marine Corps. I did 1 year in infantry in the Army Guard, got an honorable. The Marine Corps told me that's no good. Go away again. And by a stroke of luck, the stars aligned, and I ran into a guy I hadn't seen in 15 years who went to the Naval Academy, and he was a big player in the California Recruiting Command. And I told a story, and he said, well, it's a 1 in 1,000 shot, but let's take a chance. All the stars aligned. It went up to headquarters Marine Corps. This was on New Year's Eve, 2004 into 2005. By June of that year, 6 months later, I was back in the Marine Corps, and I was in Iraq in September. And I did 4 more years and fixed my mistakes and got out honorably. And I'm thankful for that every day. And that major is now a lieutenant colonel, retired, and he works on our team.
Nice.
So, I
Awesome.
mean, it was a blessing, man. I wouldn't change it.
I gotta ask, have you been to Okinawa on your first tour?
No, sir.
No.
No,
Philippines?
no. Just stateside in Iraq, man.
No,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, because
Where'd
More
you
than likely.
did you fly straight in?
What's that?
Did you fly straight in to Iraq, or did you
to
stop?
Iraq? We let's see. We stopped in Newfoundland, Ireland, then Kuwait, and then took a C-130 into Ramadi. Or wait, into Kuwait and then convoy to Ramadi. I can't remember now.
Tell
But-
them what for the people out there. It's been a while, right? But
Yeah.
Andy and I we talk all the time, right? And we get to tell our stories all the time. Tell people what it's like when you fly into the war zone. Like when you're in the C-130 and the lights go dark and they're like, no shit, hey, get dark. Like turn that off, tape that up.
First off, we didn't even think we were going to make it into Iraq because the C-130 was shit in the bed, and we went up, and we had to come right back down because there was mechanical problems, and it was about 110 degrees outside, and inside
Yes.
that plane was probably, who knows, 150, 160. So we had all of our gear on, and this
Nut to
hard
butt.
charging, this hard charging gun. He's like, keep your gear on, don't take your shit off. Marines started falling out and puking, and finally this Air Force member said, get all your gear off, Gunny. I'm taking over this plane. You have no authority in here. These guys are gonna die in here. So we didn't even think we were gonna make it to Iraq. So then finally we went back up. and made it to
Tell
our
them how
destination.
you sit in the plane. Like when you sit, you sit like it's so tight in there.
Oh, it's, what do they call it? Nuts to butts?
Not just nut to butt, but for the people. So what I'm getting at is you sit across facing each other,
Yes.
right? When the seats are out. So there's a middle section, and the middle section is facing the wall. The wall is facing the middle section. They're so close, you have to interweave your knees, right?
Yeah.
You can't sit knee to knee. I have to put my knee in between your knees, and your knees are going in between mine and the other people's. So all of our knees are in between each other. There's no space.
All
There's
that
no
talk is
space.
making me horny, if you know what I'm saying.
But God forbid you have to take a piss. Good luck,
Right.
man. Good luck. That shit is
Yeah.
gonna get hung up on everything under the sun. Good luck.
Well,
And then it's not like I can pull my
Yeah.
canteen out and piss in my canteen because guess whose knees right there?
it's
People don't understand. And he's talking about
Yeah.
sitting there for hours.
Yes.
Yeah, we honestly, man, that was probably the most dangerous part for us in Iraq was just that heat exhaust, like sitting in that plane. And it was the craziest thing. We went up and we're like, what the hell? And we're going right back down. We're like, are we going down? Or is this on purpose? Or is this where it ends? We're not even going to get a chance.
Is this
to
how
do
this
Right.
works?
Yeah. I'm like, wow, that was short lived.
Are we there?
You had a good
Yeah.
run. Fuck it. Right? Oops, I said the F
Yeah.
word. There's another FCC fine.
Uh-oh.
Man, we can't ever get out of the red. Jeez.
We're
So
never going public.
no. Talk to us more about your organization because I'm super fascinated by it.
Yes.
In fact, let's let Sarah talk about the organization
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, where to begin?
at the beginning.
I know, right? Well, kudos to Joe for asking that question when he said were we together during or after. And you know what? After meeting you guys at the umpire event and talking to some of the women, I just want to say this too, kind of before we start American Warrior Festival, it is different. The comment in there is that kudos to us for doing it post service. The whole different world. Yes, civilians don't see that stuff on the female. And I don't know if that's something that you guys would ever want to talk about, but it's true. The things that we don't see it full throttle in,
Hey,
and then meeting somebody way later, right? It's
can you
yeah.
guys feed the squirrel?
not that out. What squirrel? This one?
I'm not sure what's going on. I think
Okay.
you need to feed the squirrel
Yeah.
because he's not running fast enough on that internet thing because you're like,
Oh, no.
it's so choppy.
Is it spotty?
Oh yeah. It's
Still?
pretty bad. It's in and
Yeah.
out.
Do you want to try going through my?
We could, yeah.
Is-
So hold that thought.
Holding it.
Sorry, guys.
No worries. We're just gonna hold this against you forever, but I mean, no worries. Do your
How-
thing.
I've trained my whole life to fill dead airtime.
Oh yes.
Guys,
And-
my
and
my dad was a radio DJ growing up, and he never allowed dead air. It was always like filling something in between. So I totally.
That's what I'm saying. I got stories.
Yeah, right.
That's right. Be the fifth
How
caller.
are we?
Yeah,
how are we
2 a.m. virgin sacrifices.
Is
I
this
love
better?
it.
I always get a lot of dudes.
Yeah, shocking, huh? A lot of dude virgins, or never mind. I don't want to know.
Are we still choppy, or are we okay?
I think we're okay.
Yeah, it was
Alright.
pretty. Yeah, it looked good. Yeah.
Cool. We'll try.
So
that.
anyway,
Let us know if anything
go ahead, baby.
transpires
I'm ready.
again. So, I think, and thank you guys too. I just want to start completely off by saying thank you for letting me even take the floor, coming from the civilian world, obviously, to not. I'm learning so much just from engagements like this and one-offs. You know, with Doc learning your story and everybody else's story. So thank you so much. One thing too that I can say is just American Warrior across the board is there's the two main pillars. So it's strength in numbers, entertainment, and then a division under that is called American Warrior. The festival aspect, which obviously he introduced, is creating music and entertainment of a festival with all of our list of services. Right now, what we're finding, and we'll elaborate into those in a minute, but what we're finding is the need is that these kids are physically and I call them kids, but we all know they're of age, physically and academically unqualified, right? Not only is the need lead generation, however, that's how we're going to work with the entertainment industry, speaking the language through our services that we have, which such as this, obviously, Doc, podcasting and music lessons and all that fun stuff. We'll get into that in a minute. But bringing these, pretty much giving recruiters on a national level and all branches the opportunity for us to come into their world as well and get these kids qualified through our tutoring programs, and then partnering with gyms across the United States to where, again, we get their unqualified students come on through. We partner with the gym. We have the veteran community come in, right? When I say community, I mean we have all branches yet again that will come through and train the military way, that prospect under a local gym. And then we host what's called Hard Charger Saturdays, which is what you were starting to say too, which is on the the Marine end. And then there's the Army, the Navy, National Guard. All of them will bring their prospects or their I know every branch has a different name for their
Marine Corps police,
Yeah,
future soldiers, sailors, airmen.
and
whatever
pardon me
that-
on that part of it because our the Poolie training for the Marines has taken off, so I'm just accustomed to saying it that way. But what we'll do is we'll put a vendor community day event alongside the trainees. So now we're getting eyes on the military through bringing in local businesses, veteran-owned businesses, and or anybody in that city. And then obviously, too, getting kids involved. When I say obvious, meaning that what we do is we go business to business, school system to school system, come train the military way, bring your kids through. Now they have leads. So we're doing the full system of service. And so far, it's been a hit. We're getting eyes on us from the military. We're getting the community involved. And it's so rewarding. And these kids, I think right now we've gotten 13 ASVAB qualified and 2 physically qualified. And that's just within the last year. And it's only growing.
Other than practical application, how are you training to waste people's time? You can't, if we're learning the military way, there has to be at least an elective.
Yeah.
Piggybacking or something.
You mentioned hard charging Saturday for the Marines. What do you do for the Navy? Is it Makeup Mondays?
Yeah.
Well,
bring your eyeliner.
You know what,
I'd like
man?
to piggyback on that.
the
What do you do
Navy
for the Air Force?
The Air Force, it's awesome because when we tour around the country, which we travel a lot to do our events, we pop into recruiting stations. And it's funny because we used to travel with this like white box that we walked through the recruiting station doors and we're like, oh man, you guys bring us donuts?
Yeah.
And we're like, almost just cool. And we're basically like, we're here to make your life a hell of a lot easier. And most of them will be like, go on, and open up the box. And we tell them that the 3 main things that we can do for local recruiters is, like Sarah was mentioning, as you can see, she's the brains and the beauty of the operation.
Clearly.
Clearly.
I know about the brains thing. I felt like there's so much that we could elaborate on, and I was trying to streamline it. So
Yeah, but
You did good.
you know, we can bring leads in through our entertainment events, like
Yeah.
Sarah was mentioning, and then just helping them get their prospects academically and physically qualified so they could focus more on and their Mets work, their waivers, all that stuff, because a lot of recruiters are being forced to
It's
uh,
getting choppy again. Testing 1, 2.
Yeah. You know what's weird is it seems like it's only when Dan is talking for some reason.
Hear my
Or
voice
maybe
this
not.
entire time.
I can shut up for the sake of the show.
No.
And,
Not really, but I mean, of course we want to hear your voice. Of course.
You know, Can
Well,
we start with
Well, you know something?
yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, something that I find interesting though. As you're going around, and we're talking about helping out the recruiters and these things. A lot of people aren't aware of some of the basic requirements, and if I remember correctly, and obviously, you're more you have more recent experience with it. But when I joined back in, I joined in '95, a year after you came in. Um, the only service that had a weightlifting requirement was the Air Force. You had to be able to pick up 50 pounds. There was a weight machine at the MEPS. And I was like, well, I said, what is that for? They said, that's for the Air Force. They're the only ones that had a weightlifting requirement due to the requirement of offloading planes. Every airman had to be able to lift at a minimum 50 pounds. They said that was a requirement or you couldn't join because everyone offloads planes no matter what. That's their mission.
It's kind of like every Marine's a rifleman, right?
Yeah, exactly. Up until I got out, because I did kind of, I would always ask whenever I'd run into somebody, that was the requirement all the way up to 2017, or it was still there. I don't know if they have it anymore.
Interesting.
I never knew that.
I didn't either.
That's
Yeah,
I figured it was something to do with, hey, how to get hotel reservations for deployments, things like that. That's what I figured.
No, when I inquired about it, and then I would always ask them, I'm like, or I bring it up, like when people were making fun of the Air Force and I was trying to ingratiate my way in somehow, I'd be like, oh, they're the only ones. They're like, that's right. I had to do that. Yeah.
They're working out, doing powerlifting at MEPS. We never knew.
Well, let's not push it.
They had the total gym. It wasn't that.
But then again, you're right. You're right. 50 pounds for the Air Force is probably powerlifting.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
Yeah, good point.
So I am like the ASVAB
look
thing,
that up.
right? I'm really
Yeah.
excited about that. So I told you guys that I'm super interested.
Yeah.
I'm coming on board. I'm going to come on and help you guys out and get on board with the tutoring thing. And I think it's a great thing because, like I was telling you guys the other day, and Lou's he's just gonna shake his head when he hears me say this, but you got to train your relief, right?
Absolutely.
You always got to train your relief, and how better of a way to do that to get these kids in?
Yep.
And yeah, they are kids because I'm old.
And
Shut
Doc,
up.
there's some good news, man. As you're
What?
coming on, we got a message today from a hard charging ROTC cadet out of Texas A&M. He got a 93 on the ASVAB, and he's ready to talk on Monday. It's looking good for an ironic thing about this is we found him because his younger brother wants to join the National Guard, and his family contacted us to get him into our tutoring program. And then they said, we told them how a lot of our OTC cadets are coming in because they can get points for being a part of our program. There's so many different things we can do with our OTC cadets training wise.
Yeah, so actually let's even say why that's important. So another way that
Yeah.
we give back, and this is where I say that there's so much that we're building and it's growing so fast, is another way, like I said, is that we're having ROTC cadets come in as our tutors. So
That's excellent.
yeah, right. And now the OML points are so important for them. And now they can come through and they gain those points working for our services as tutors. Now they also have obviously taken the ASVAB so they can speak the language, but at the same time, it's all military structured. So when they come through, obviously now they set the expectation. You guys already know, sit up, go to bed, or excuse me, like you're taught when to get up, when to when to eat, when to take a shit, for lack of a better term, right? You guys all know what you have to go through in the military world. So cadets are not only accustomed to that through our program to be able to educate that. But
You,
also
you're breaking
love
up
to
again a
educate
little bit there.
Damn it. Do you want to talk about like rainbows
Oh,
and
boy.
unicorns, and then we can? I'm just kidding.
I can't tell if
Oh,
it's
no.
you talking fast or if it's the compression of the audio coming through. It's
No,
probably a
it's
little
probably
bit of both, actually.
That's funny.
cute.
But
Yeah.
real quick before we go on, I have to address a comment in the room. Of course, Murdoch wants to say Andy would fail that now, and we all know that's not true because I carried your fat ass all through camp. So let's just call it for what it is. You know what I'm saying? Wait, what? That was supposed to be an inside thought. Sorry. It happens. But yeah, so getting back to the whole recruiting or the tutoring side, man, I'm super excited. Lou and I were talking just before the show that the math, forget about it. I can't tutor anybody on that. But the sciences, absolutely. I don't know if you heard any of that, but that's cool.
Science. Is
Oh,
your
yeah.
science. We know.
Yeah, we
We're ready for you. You're
Doc,
coming to
yeah,
visit.
Doc, why don't you talk a little bit about what got you interested in it? Not to run your show or anything, but just
Yeah, it's your show. Go ahead, whatever.
Not too, but
yeah, not
Tell
to.
us about you.
This is Doc's world, and we just live here. Come on, Doc.
You don't tell me what to do. You're not my real father. Just knock it off.
you don't know that.
Well, this is true.
Can't make that claim.
That's true. I'm not going to bore everybody with my story. I just, at the end of the day, it's a fantastic program. I can really get involved in it. I see the purpose and the value in it. And at a time when our military is suffering from such poor retention and recruitment numbers as it is, we got to do something to get these kids in. It's pretty pathetic when you've got somebody that wants more than anything to serve their country and they're told no because they didn't pass a test. I've known some brilliant people out there that are horrible test takers. All right, then. Well,
Well,
here we
I'll
go.
tell you. I'll tell you, Andy. Let me tell you the other thing I think too, though. The other part of the important service that it provides is these kids have to get there, right? They
Right.
can't sit in limbo. They cannot sit waiting. Especially when you're waiting to start going, right? Second thoughts creep in,
Yep.
bad influences. A lot of people are joining, to get away from that, to get out of that situation, to get rid of a lot of those expectations that maybe their area or upbringing may have put on them that they don't want,
I'm
and if
so
they sit
glad
there
you
and
brought that up.
linger, if they sit there and linger, it becomes terrible. And so when so not only are you providing a service for the services and future, it's also to the future veterans and their families.
Right.
Mom doesn't want Billy in the basement just as much as Billy doesn't want to be in the basement, right? I mean, if he's trying to join the military, he's obviously not motivated to be there, right? So
Well, let's be honest. There are a lot of these individuals that they're working with. They come from troubled backgrounds.
sure.
Sure. There's trauma involved. There's, some of these individuals that maybe they live in the inner city. They may feel like there's no other way out. Well, there is a way out. I shared with Sarah and Dan earlier in the week that I have a really good friend of mine that was from the projects in Chicago. And when he first came to us, he was an E3, and we called him I won't say his last name, but we called him Angry because he was a stereotypical angry black man, right? But we broke him down. We do what we do, and he's a freaking Master Chief now, still serving. So if you want something bad enough, you're going to find a way to get it, and it's okay to ask for help. And I believe that that's what they're doing here. Is they're offering that help.
Absolutely.
Well
In an
said, guys.
underserved area, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
who else is offering when we joined, right? If you think about it, the only help available to us was at the library, VHS tapes.
Yeah.
You had to go get VHS tapes to watch if you wanted to prep for the ASVAB.
Right.
There was no help.
Yeah.
Nope.
Lou, you mentioned a very good point of in the past, a lot of these kids would come into recruiting stations, take the ASVAB, fail out, get a terrible score. Recruiter might try to help them. In a lot of ways, there's legal things within the military that doesn't allow recruiters to help them for different reasons, and the UCMJ and all that. So the fact that a lot of these kids would come in and they'd get discouraged because they failed and they'd leave and never come back. And so, this right here, not only do we get them academically and physically qualified, like we talked to a young man today, his attendance has been so good, we're setting him up to go out on the range to throw live rounds downrange. That's
Nice.
his reward. So when we present this to the military, we say that the meat and potatoes and the dinner and the healthy food is the academics and the fitness. And if they eat their vegetables, they get to have their ice cream, aka going to martial arts, hand-to-hand combat, the range, the exciting things that they get to do when they're going home and studying their math and when they're attending classes. Then we take care of them by rewarding them by going to the range. And those are what we call supplemental programs. And we just onboarded a new, well, they've been around for a while, but we officially onboarded a new martial arts school. They have jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, Sambo, and they're excited. They're basically like, let's do it. Anyone in Rochester that wants to come through and do martial arts, we'll have them as part of an American Warrior plan. And then they come in under the American Warrior banner. And now not only can fitness centers around the country service our prospects, the martial arts schools that have striking and grappling across the country, we're going to onboard one by one. Wherever there's a recruiting station, we're going to build this. And marksmanship training across the country. So we have the local communities where these fitness and training centers exist are going to be servicing all of the prospects as we move across the country building this.
Well,
And
you
Doc
got to
is gonna do
know.
podcasting.
Yeah, you got to know your target audience, right? And
Yep.
we live in a society nowadays that's very reward based. So, hey, get him in however you can, by hook or by crook, right?
Well,
That's what
I'm
I say.
teaching jujitsu in the area I'm in. I'll talk to my boss.
Yeah, Lou, where are you at again?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. You ain't very far. We're up in the Buffalo area right now. You're 4 hours away, buddy.
Oh yeah.
Road
Awesome.
trip.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
First, I always tell Andy, right? Before I'll agree to anything. I'll say yes to anything. But as soon as I go upstairs, the first words out of my wife's mouth will be, "Can you bring Aya? Can you bring my daughter? Can you bring Aya? Can you bring Aya? Can you bring Aya? Yeah."
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I was I can go do anything as long as I can bring Aya.
That's hilarious.
She gets the breaks, not me.
So, Rochester is where you guys are at now, right? Is that where or thereabouts?
Yeah.
Western
Yeah,
New
Western
York.
New York.
Yeah,
Okay.
between Buffalo and Rochester. We're going to be hitting the road a lot more. We're going to be hitting the Carolinas
St. Louis.
soon.
Sorry,
What's-
St. Louis.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Off the
excellent.
radar.
St. Louis
Yeah.
is absolutely on the radar, right there with Kansas City. One of our board members and one of my good Marine buddies that I served with lives in Kansas City. And to go out and see Doc and Tim in Kansas City would be amazing. So I definitely see Missouri in the future.
Hell yeah.
Can we talk about too, Lou, you hit on an amazing subject of some of these kids coming from, for lack of a better term, like broken homes, right? So coming into the American Warrior banner, we go after the rock star football player, wrestler, all the way down the chain, the underweight who needs to learn how to defend themselves, the overweight who needs to learn how to get Cheetos out of his belly button, paying homage to our fan.
Pedros,
judge.
Pedros,
And, you know,
Cheeto Dusty, Jalapidus.
Dude, we love Pedros and Jocko. But anyway,
Yeah.
so
Calm down, Macho Man.
Yeah, I tell
Yeah.
you what, Doc.
I love you guys. Okay, so keeping that going, and then there are those foster kids, then there are the lower end housing. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? However, but they want to get into some form of structure. So what happens when you go, and Doc, you already know this, Lou, I'm sure you already know as well, what happens when you feel failure? You pull out, right? And none of you say nothing, but like my point is, it's like, delete that.
She's learning
So,
about the veteran
Dude,
community already.
literally,
I feel failure when
Go
I
on.
don't.
Yeah, right.
enough.
That's what I was thinking.
Shut
At this age, that's the failure.
Wow.
There's gold in this. There's gold in this. Hang on.
Okay.
Rob is
I'll
gonna help
say.
us alive. Delete that. Okay, so
Yeah, it's live. You know that, right?
and you both know because we met you guys at the umpire event and the meetings that you guys host, right? So I kind of want to stay in that segment for a second.
Sure.
We have a girl right now who's joining the Navy, and she needs to get physically qualified. Academically, she's doing great, but what has happened to her in her life story is that she was given to us through our network, through just building this network, and actually more than one person, which is crazy. Not knowing that there was a connection that we already had her, said that she needs your mentorship. So we call ourselves American Warrior Mentorship and Training Program. We're not only going to get them physically and academically qualified, but what about that kid or that student, that prospect who wants to join but doesn't have any support on the back end, who doesn't have the resources, the finances, can't hold down a job, has to get all the waivers and everything, right? So fast forward to what I'm about to tell you on this. We have more than one right now, actually, who is in the judicial system. This other female who I have built an amazing relationship, and obviously you have too. She's coming from, if I can speak freely, there's sex abuse. There was medications, experiments. Her parents didn't, want her, and she just was she's 19 and she's fending for herself home to home to home. And right now she's got booted out of her living circumstance. And not to bring the room down here, but this is the reality of some of these kids that we're dealing with is that she's working her ass off, for lack of a better term, right? But the life cards that she's been handed doesn't give her that mental strength to say, I got this, right? So how do we do that? How do we help? Right? So coming in and her outlet now is joining the military. It's structure, it's her future, it's her housing, it's her income.
It's security.
It's security, exactly. And what you guys are doing on your end with the umpiring event, it's the same exact thing across the board. We're all in the same ship. Because what happens is when you can't, it's not say can't, they say that they can't, right? When they don't have that backbone or that structure, if she starts going to the gym and then she starts to get sore, right? She's not going to show up. Okay, do we let them go? See ya, awesome, good luck, right? Or do we come in under the mentorship banner and say, hey, I'm going to check in on you. Where's your brain at today? Vibe check. What do you need from me? Aside from all of this, what do you need from me? What do you need from us? And anybody that we bring in, Doc, you're a prime candidate. And Lou, we would absolutely love to have this conversation with you too, is what separates us from a tutoring program, like any competitor out there, I won't name names, is that we go above and beyond. We're not going to lose you because of your finances. We're not going to lose you because your body hurts. We're not going to lose you because maybe there's something preventing you that you don't want to tell us. We want you to literally open up and let us help you in any way, shape, or form. So anybody who comes through, they are considered a mentor first, and then we tutor, and then we do the physical fitness and the marksmanship and everything like that. Can I elaborate too on the marksmanship? So I know we didn't really elaborate on all the list of services that we have. Marksmanship training. We've got a kid right now. We have a wonderful veteran who's a part of our community who is teaching these kids, and he comes from a background and he's on the other side of it. We had one ROTC cadet, great human being, which we all are, right? But either way, that one kid who's coming through who needs to join the military is in the judicial system. So now we've got both ends of the spectrum. Now we have this veteran who came out on the other side so he could speak both languages, right? So now they both are coming out on top. Right on. So we like to separate ourselves and say that we're building something that doesn't exist because no one's a number, right? We need the leads. Everybody needs to join. You know what I mean? Everybody needs to get there.
They're not a number until they get in. Once they're in, they're a number.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
But until they get there.
When you're a student, you're definitely not a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've learned that. I've definitely learned that through this. It's true. But
So what are some of the other programs? You talked about the marksmanship. You talked about the martial arts. What are some of the other? You mentioned podcasting.
Yeah, we'll go on. We'll break it down. There's two different divisions. Well said.
thanks.
There's the entertainment division and the training division. The entertainment division has live music, music in concerts, festivals, film, videography, writing, podcasting and media, like acting, any entertainment. We can actually put up the list of services, or anyone's interested in any of those, we can elaborate further. On the training side, we have martial arts, hand-to-hand combat, marksmanship, infantry tactics, academic work. We also have like EMT, first aid, things like that, leadership classes. We haven't really got too much into like military customs and uniforms and things like that up to this point, but we might add that.
I know a perfect person for that.
Okay. All right.
He,
Yeah.
he's on the screen right now.
Oh,
Lou.
Lou.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
If he would be
Yeah.
willing, I'm just saying.
What for what?
Wow, way to pay attention to your own show, pal.
That's
Jesus.
hilarious.
You guys are, let me say this. You guys are an awesome team, man. I could see why the two of you come together. Keep this good thing going, man. We're enjoying it.
Totally. Yeah.
No, they were
Good
just
story.
talking about military customs and traditions. And
No.
you'd be a perfect
Yeah.
person for that.
Along,
Man.
it was so funny. I go through these phases, right? And I'm sure, and I think we all do as people, like, well, where I feel very humble, I feel good, and then there's other times where I'm like, no, man, I'm better than that. Wait, hold on a second. And it's funny you talk about. It's funny you just bring up like heritage and tradition. Somebody was claiming something in the Navy, and I was like, wait. In my head, I was like, wait a minute. This just happened today. I was like, wait a minute, I'm better than that. I was a ship surgeon on the second time the USS Constitution sailed in its 150-year period, under its own power. Like I'm better than that. Nobody knows. That is something my wife would say, Lewis. No one else is thinking about that. No one.
Right.
No
You're
one
the only
else is
game in
thinking.
town in your mind there, right? Like,
Hey,
You know,
okay.
Murdoch said he wishes he was smarter and more physically fit. He would love to be a part of the program, but I'm sure there are roles for him within.
Well,
Listen,
yeah,
can be
yeah.
our
I think the
sign
greatest thing. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, you can be our sign holder. There's something out there for everybody. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think there's there's this population, right? I think to make sure we don't lose this on anyone who's listening, right? We're talking about a population of people that have a potential that for some reason we're not able to access it at a crucial time in in their life, right? That transition from high school, to okay, what am I going to be? What am I going to do? Where am I going? And they hit a bump or they hit something, and then there was nothing. There was nothing for those people. There was the public library. I can't stress that enough. The
Yeah.
only thing there was for these people was the public library, and there are many of them, and we are in a recruiting crisis. And you are offering not just hey, I'll go run with you, because the recruiting district's required to do that with them.
right.
They put them in the delayed entry, but they're required to run with them, right? Whether they do or not is another story. And what they do with their meetings is another story. But that's it. And I think I just cannot stress enough to people. And I love how you articulate it, how we make you more than a number. But this was a group of people that encompassed all races, religion, creeds, beliefs, whatever,
Yeah.
right? Fall into these categories. It's not just particular to a group of people. So this is we laugh about DEI, right? But this is like DEI at its finest. You're gonna find all kinds of people in this category,
For sure.
right? And
Yeah.
and there was nothing for them. Nothing.
I think if I had to sum up your organization in one word, it
Awesome.
would be
Sorry.
support. Support.
Yeah.
You're providing a support network for people, some of them who have never had any support in their entire lives.
Yeah.
Someone there to pick them up, dust them off. Sometimes a little tough love may be needed, but ultimately you're there to support these fools and people, not fools. Support these people in their dream, and their goals. So that's to me why I wanted to get on board with this. That's important to me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Doc, and Lou, the thing is too, we started out a veteran supporting mission through the festivals. Then we started realizing that that's where we came up with our circle of service: pre-service, active duty, and veterans. And I know we talked to Greg Wilson about how WWA is so important because it's not just the camp, it's a year-long connection to veterans, and there's other things you guys put together. And we realized when we were sending veterans to Yankee Stadium in the suites and doing the festivals and everything, that was great. But then that veteran would kind of do the event and then either wait for the next event, or we might not hear from them for a while. So then we realized, how important is it for our veteran mentorship division, where it could be as simple as this young man is training in his ASVAB program to getting tutored. He wants to be in artillery. So we call up one of our artillery veterans, and our veteran family lights up when they get on a call and talk to a youngster about the world of artillery or whatever MOS. It could be a hull technician talking about welding to
Turd chasing.
to an artillery veteran talking about what it takes to run a gun, all the different things that go into it, all the different fuses, all the amazing things. We basically have to peel the veteran off the phone with the youngsters like going on 2 hours listening. And but I tell
No
you
doubt.
what,
No doubt.
and then we get to bring these veterans in as coaches. So they can either be on a phone call once a month, or they can be on a marksmanship range training kids weekly. Whatever they want to do, but we feel if you bring that sense of continued service and purpose to a veteran, they now have a reason to keep going. They now have a reason to be. We often bill ourselves as a bridge from the prospect's front door of their home to the recruiting station door into recruit training. Half civilian, half military, veteran built, where a lot of times the recruiters will say, "Hey, have you heard from my prospect?" "Oh yeah, they talk with us weekly." "We haven't heard from them." "Well, Sergeant, we're keeping them on ice for you. We're working with them. They'll call you soon." Like as long as they're in the incubator, as long as they're keeping in touch, because there's so
Sure.
many kids that change their minds. So we're basically like the veteran family that can come into the recruiting station and be like the bigger brother and sister that helps protect them. And also we have veteran recruiters on our team. So it's just, we're here to do the circle of service.
I love it. And that's exactly what it is, because not only are you providing the service to these potential enlistees, but you're giving a renewed sense of purpose to the veterans.
Mhm.
You're giving them that camaraderie again. They're coming in and they're able to feel appreciated and wanted and needed again, and have that purpose in their life. And what you said is spot on. If you have no idea, and you'll never be able to know, there's no way to quantify it, but you're saving veterans' lives as well. You could find somebody on the edge and you bring them in, right? You bring them in and you get them involved, and now, holy shit, I've got it. Okay, I found myself again. And I'll just say, for me personally, after 3 decades in the military, when I took my uniform off for the last time, I lost my identity. I didn't know who I was because the military was all I knew my whole life. So kudos.
Totally.
Oh man, Doc, you hit us in the feels there, brother.
Well, it's what I do.
And we see it. It's true. I mean, they light up. You guys know, like right now, what you're doing. Like both of you, if we start talking about what you guys used to do, I mean, come on. Even as a civilian, I've watched it in our suites. Like once you guys start going, or like when we get on the phone calls with our prospects, an hour and a half, and they're just loving it and lighting up. Who's the next one? Who's the next one?
Right.
Like,
Well, I'll tell you a secret. I'll tell you, and I don't think it's a secret. But like Andy's heard me say it a ton of times, right? I don't believe veterans don't want to tell their story. I believe they would love to tell their story. The
Yeah.
problem is there's no common frame of reference. So I just don't want to be judged when I start telling it, right? That's why I don't tell it to you. But if I know you've been in the military, right? Or if I know you're aspiring to be of similar mind, right? then I'd love to tell. That's why I can go for 2 hours before you stop me. I would love to tell my story, and other veterans would love to tell their story. It's just the people who ask, you're kind of like, like for example, and I'll give you a quick example. My wife and I, we celebrated 22 years Monday, right?
Congratulations.
Being
Yeah,
married. So thank you. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'll
For
take it.
sure.
I'll take it because I totally forgot, right? we both woke up. This is hilarious, right? We both woke up because we know 25 is big. That's the one we can't believe, like we're close to, you know? So we both woke up, looked at each other, and we're like, I didn't get anything. And they were like, so like, just pick some place to go tonight and we'll go out to dinner. And then we met up,
Wait,
right?
can I come?
Yeah, she came,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Right. And then at the dinner table. Anyway, I'm totally getting sidetracked. But the point being is I could tell my wife, right? And I've told her, but the only thing she can say is, "Oh, I'm sorry that happened to you." Right? She really doesn't know. Even though she's been around, she's seen sort of the aftermath. Like, you come home from a week in you smell, you know what I mean? She knows it obviously must have been miserable. You could smell the sleeping bag from, rooms away, right? So she knows that's not pleasant. But that's what I say at veterans. And I think, and so anyway, to dial it back, right? Even though we have people we love in our lives, if they weren't there, they still really don't have that common frame of reference. So you don't really get the value of telling them as you do from another veteran. Right. So that's the only, like, that's really, and that's what I stress to people about, like the Marine Corps League or VFW or some of these organizations that are dying on the vine because people don't want to join, or they gave up. They gave up the military when they left. They don't want the structure, and you can't really explain to them that it's different, because as soon as they go to a meeting, that one guy will be there who wishes he were still in, right? Right after you just got
Always.
done saying nobody's really like that. That'll be the day he shows up, right? And this guy will never come back, right? And that's just how it happens, right? But anyway, but these guys, when I go to those meetings, you see people are getting therapy in those meetings, telling their stories to people who get it, to people who laugh at the parts they're supposed to laugh at, and who pat you on the back at the times you're supposed to pat you on the back.
Man, it's so powerful. And when we do the Hard Charger Saturdays, one of the favorite parts of it all is you have the active duty recruiters in the mix, the active duty guys, barking. The recruiters are doing their best job to impersonate drill instructors, right? And they do a pretty good job, some of them, most of them. And then you got the poolies that are in the dep. And then you got the white t-shirt guests that are, man, like, right on the edge of, or they're in the process. And then in the corner is the goateed, salty dog Vietnam Marine Corps veteran. Like, get some, you know what I mean? And he sees these youngsters. He's like, all right, maybe all is not lost with the future, and there's some hard chargers out here. It's good to see these kids. And then the recruiters go up to the veterans and shake their hands, and they talk about when they served. And it's that circle of service. It's that magic combination of pre, active, and post. And it really is. It doesn't feel like we ever go to work here, because it's just every day is something new. And we say that if you are pro-military, neutral, or anti-military, you're going to want to support something like this that we're doing, because the reality is less than 30% are qualified to serve, less than 9% have an interest. And if the trend continues the way it is, we will not be able to successfully field an all volunteer force. That's not our words. That's just the reality of the trend. And so we could tell someone, if you're anti-military, support our program, because we're going to help prevent your grandkid from getting drafted.
That's right.
Because we still believe in all volunteer. I know there's a lot of talk about everyone should serve in the U.S. military. We're not in here to kind of debate that, pro or against. I personally love the all volunteer model, people wanting to be there. Gents, what is your opinion on that? I'm curious.
All you got to do is go back and look at Vietnam. You look at
Right.
Vietnam, and you have all the draftees, and people didn't want to be there. And if you're not invested, how can I trust you really? Or number one, number two, how can I trust you to do your job? How can I trust you to have my back? As opposed to the all volunteer force where, yeah, you want to be there. And, some onesies and twosies slip through for sure.
Sure.
But, for the most part, you're in there because you want to be. And if you want to be there, then I've got a good product I can work with.
They're right. Yeah.
How about you, Lou?
There are three types of enemy, right? Believers, opportunists, and people who are standing around with nothing better to do, and all their friends are doing it, right? People who are bored. Same in the military, right? There are believers, there are opportunists, and there are people who didn't know what they were doing.
Sometimes they're all three wrapped into one.
They can be, right? They can be.
Oh, I can name a few. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, yeah. We certainly a lot of opportunists I've run into, for sure, right? But the point being is, I think it's hard enough to get the people who volunteered to do things, and I think you wouldn't be aware of this, right? Andy probably may be aware of it, or other things may have been on your radar, right? Is what I'm saying. Not that people are dumb and missed it, right? But when I went to Iraq, Iraq was my first combat deployment in 2004. I flew Kazovac, but the Navy came out with a memo that said if you don't go, you're not going to pick up E7 because corpsmen were trying not to go.
Oh,
They
wow.
were running from it.
Yeah, of course
they
they
didn't
were.
want to do it. People, and I heard people personally. A couple tell me to my face, when they were talking about extensions, when we were going to get extended in Iraq for another year, or like some I forget what's going on, but that's not what I'm here for. I joined for college. I joined, or, you know what I mean. Like I joined for,
Yeah.
I don't want none of this. A good friend of mine had a terrible experience in an Amtrak with a kid that would not get out, just would not, and it was on fire, and he finally ended up assaulting the soldier to get him to get out of the Amtrak, because he just started talking, So when I was younger, I would tell those stories like what a bunch of bitches and cowards and all these other things, right? And I still hold that opinion on some things. However, I am old enough and have seen enough to know that I do believe a lot of us are one gunfight away from bitching up. you know what I mean? Like you may have done well, but who knows what the next gunfight brings, right?
Everybody has a breaking point.
Yeah, and fighting's a lot more than who I forget how the phrase goes, but I'll take blind dumb luck over skill and training any day.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I think it's hard enough to get the believers in line, than messing with opportunists and people with nothing better to do, right? That their friends have all joined. That's
well,
powerful. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Thanks. Not to interrupt. I'm sorry. I'm sure it was something really important, Doc. But
don't start with me.
Just kidding. Real quick, just to even add to that too. So we introduced our full list of
some people.
I know.
Hickory dickory dock.
Hey, over there.
But in all seriousness here too, we introduced our list of services.
Yeah. Lou, I introduced her to Andrew Dice Clay just a few weeks back. She was laughing her ass off.
I'm a huge comedian fan. Oh my god, I love good comedians.
right.
Hey, over there.
He would never get away with that shit today. Like it's
My balls are hanging out. I got marinara sauce on my balls.
He said, "I'll change one." The guy was like, "Hickory dickory dock." All right, hickory dickory dock. Your wife.
Oh,
Hey,
Yeah,
hey, listen. Unfortunately, we're coming to the end of the show here.
That's the
We'll
problem.
have to get you guys back on again because I don't
Yes.
feel like we've talked enough. But as you can see on the screen, I put up a your website there so folks can get in contact with you. And one thing that we do on this show that we're very proud of and we like to continue is we have a Veterans Helping Veterans segment. However, this whole show has been about veterans helping veterans. So that is our Veterans Helping Veterans segment for this evening. Call me being lazy, whatever, but I think this is super important. And I believe in your mission 100%. So
thank you.
Absolutely.
yeah.
If I could
yeah.
close on this real quick, just to wrap all of this up in a beautiful little ball here, is that
absolutely.
all of those list of services that we're talking about, we are now speaking the kids' languages and we are partnering with the recruiters and going into the school systems and setting up stations, the podcasting station, the TikTok lives, the MMA, the physical fitness, all of them. And now we're coming from a different angle because we all know when you own a business, you got to keep growing with the times. So
That's
to
right.
prevent that whole all volunteer model from going, you know what I mean? Like our grandson's going in, we got you. So
Nice.
Word.
Yeah.
Word to your mother.
And I want to give the lady some props here. She's helped so much with, you know, that I'll dream of these things and put the vision in the sky, and I got, you know, 1 foot in that big vision and 1 foot in today. But she's the one that's helping say, okay, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the documents we need. You know, we're all just like a Marine, run my head first right through a brick wall, and she'll say, well, you could just walk around the wall. You know, it's so
No.
Yeah.
No, I can't.
right.
So,
Stand by. I'll deal with you in a minute.
all right, so listen, there's no doubt that Sarah's doing great things. But nobody likes an ass kisser, man.
Yeah,
I'm just
come on.
saying. I'm just saying.
No.
Come on, put your pants on.
How important the civilian side of what we're doing too, and the people that are coming in with.
Sure.
I mean, every good veteran organization, there's some really powerful civilian help,
Yes.
and
Yes.
we want to make them feel welcome with what we're doing as well.
Yeah.
Lou, your wife sounds like an amazing human being. Doc, we've talked about your wife in the past too.
Horrible
Like,
human being.
stop. Kids. I hope she's 22 years. She got to be doing something right. so.
She's got to be to put up with him.
We were talking about what 2 weekends ago. I was telling Andy, man, I made that woman's life hell.
It's not easy, I'll tell you that. But
Hey.
we're doing the best.
All right,
Real quick,
I'm terrible.
put out your contact information for
Yes.
anybody. We have the website up, but if anybody needs to get in contact,
And
or
don't
would
go
like-
anywhere. Don't go
Yes.
anywhere when we say goodbye. Stay on.
Right.
Okay, awesome.
Guys, thank you so much. We appreciate
Yeah.
everything that you do, everybody who came in the group chat. So
So
Yeah.
no contact information,
You
Roger.
could,
Oh,
you
wait
could
a
reach us. Yeah,
Here you go.
you could reach us at AmericanWarriorFestival.com is the best way. Also, our nonprofit strengthennumbers.org. And just reach out there and hit the contact button. Send us an email, and we'll be in touch and make some things happen.
Hell
Yeah.
Hell
Thanks.
I've-
Thanks for coming on and
I've
talking.
really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's been
Oh.
great, and we got to have you guys back because there's so much more we need to cover. But
that's great.
anyway, thanks guys so much. Lou, any last words before we punch on out of here?
No, but I got my little jujitsu mark. Did you see that?
No.
Oh, I got to put my readers on to see that, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
look at
Jesus.
that. Right there, man.
Oh, a little Matt Burn.
Oh,
I did.
nice.
Yeah,
I did. I got the map.
Excellent.
You're
Excellent.
like that big on our screens.
Remind me to tell you a jujitsu story here after we take off. But anyway, listen, guys, what
Yeah,
a
no.
pleasure it's been to have you on. We're going to do it again, hands down. But
Yes.
Yeah,
We're here for it.
definitely. The pleasure is all yours. I appreciate you guys
exactly.
so much.
And
Can you guys
thank you
convert
for
these
your
VHS for me?
thank you for your cervix. That was directed at Dan, not Sarah.
I heard that.
Vector over.
All right, folks. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to check out American Warrior Festival. And
Comment,
let's
click like
do some
down
good.
below.
That's right. Everything that he just said. All right, guys. We're out here. We'll see you next time.
You're listening to Nothing's Off the Table with Andy and Lou, an Admiral Media production podcast. All